Yo, what's going on, Pokemon community? Hey, do you guys ever like drop your phone and it gets isekai'd into like another dimension? Literally, my phone right now fell out of my pocket and it ended up, see where the Snorlax is? It ended up over there under my couch that I have over there. Like, how in the world? Like, look, my pocket, it was like in my pocket and it just fell out of my chair right here. And I was like, what? Where in the hell did my phone go? It went all the way over there under Snorlax. Like, how in the hell is that possible? Like, did 𝐒𝐿𝐴 come along and just like beam it to the other side of the room? Anyways, what's going on, my friends? What's going on, trainers? So today we have Pokemon Horizons episode 52. And I gotta be honest with y'all, like overall, like the highlight of this episode was 𝐻𝐴Trel evolving into 𝐾𝐻. And then the highlight of the episode was that next week, it's a little dark in here, ain't it? Let me get a little bit of light. Next week is we have an episode featuring Annihilape. And here's kind of the thing. This week, the highlights or like the main focus was 𝐻𝐴Trel evolving into 𝐾𝐻. I think that's a huge moment for the show. Huge moment for Roy. Huge moment for the group. But this one featured 𝐜𝐴T𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭, and next week features Annihilape. My main problem with that is, how do you say it? In Pokemon Journeys, we had Ash and I forget the kid who caught everything, but the one who was his partner in Journeys, more often than not, he just yeeted Pokeballs at everything. So it was pretty safe to say that if we saw in the preview for the next episode, if we saw, shiny Voltorb, there's a chance that bro's gonna catch the shiny Voltorb, which he did. He yeeted a ball at that shiny Voltorb. But my problem with Horizons and kind of like the old style Pokemon was that like a lot of times we would see an episode, I was like, oh shit, we're gonna get a Charmeleon next episode, or we're gonna get a whatever Pokemon, but then they don't capture it. They just kind of like high five the Pokemon and then send it on its way. So when I see 𝐜𝐴T𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭 this episode not get captured, basically like you have Roy grabbing it, holding it, loving it, eating its jalapenos and its habaneros and everything. But then he just like, bye, 𝐜𝐴T𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭. And then next week we feature Annihilape. Like, the cool part in seeing that is like, I wonder if Lico's gonna grab it. I wonder if Dot's gonna grab it. But we all know in our heart, like, ain't nobody catching that. If it does happen, whoo! What a moment. Yo, if Lico gets herself an Annihilape or Dot, like, let's go. But we know that it's not going to happen. Now, I will say, we had a preview and it showed Hatenna, and Lico did grab the Hatenna. We had Tinkatink be in a preview, and Dot did grab the Tinkatink. So there's a chance, but more often than not, when we see like these big name Pokemon like Annihilape, like a final evolution for Mankey, Primeape, Annihilape, the chances of that actually being captured by one of them are just very slim. Now, with this episode too, the other thing that I noticed, and sometimes you just have to like turn your brain off with Pokemon, because the way the Pokemon world works and the way the video games work, sometimes they're aligned and they're one for one, and then sometimes they're like really far apart. Because this episode, 𝐻𝐴Trel evolves, and this reminds me of when what was that Pokemon? I can't remember. Anyways, Ash had a Pokemon. He had Gligar, and Gligar evolved into Gliscor in the Pokemon anime. And typically, to evolve into Gliscor, it has to be holding a specific item, and then it evolves. Basically, in the anime, and you guys can correct me, I'm not an expert or anything. I'm pulling this off the dome. But in the anime, he goes and saves Ash, and because Gligar is not powerful enough, out of emotions, he evolves into Gliscor to save Ash, and it happens. But in that moment, I'm like, but he's not holding the item though, so how he evolve? So sometimes there's misalignment. This episode, 𝐻𝐴Trel to evolve into 𝐾𝐻, which I love 𝐾𝐻, by the way, one of my favorite new flying Pokemon in the Paldean region. I think 𝐜𝐴Trel is an awesome Pokemon. I have the shiny on one of my main teams, and because you can set up your teams. In one of my 5 or 6 pre-registered shiny teams that I have a fully trained 𝐜𝐴Trel in case I gotta do a raid or something. But I like 𝐜𝐴Trel a lot. But to evolve Watrel into 𝐜𝐴Trel, it has to be level 25. So just by nature of that, this show is telling me that Watrel was level 24, 25. And right now, Roy's main Pokemon is 𝐜𝐴Trel, and 𝐜𝐴Trel evolves at level 15 or 16 or something. So that's telling me that Watrel is 10 levels above 𝐜𝐴Trel, his main. So he should really be maining Watrel because that's his most powerful Pokemon. Shit, that's the most powerful Pokemon in all of them, except for maybe Florigato, which Florigato at this point could be somewhere between, 15, 16 when Sprigatito evolves up to level 32, 33, wherever that evolves. 32, 34, 36. All the starters always evolve 32, 30, 34, 36, 32 to 36, somewhere around there. So it's essentially, but there's a chance now that 𝐜𝐴Trel is the most powerful Pokemon that all 3 of them have, which I find that kind of crazy. It's either that it is, or it's one of those misalignment moments to where the show and the video game are just not, based on what we know, they're just not aligning. But I would say those are the highlights. Now, the rest of the episode, I gotta tell you guys, it was boring. Now we did come across Rhyme from, what city is she from? Montevera or something like that? The ice place. Is Montevera? Does that sound right? I don't know. But we did see Rhyme, the gym leader, come and say, "Hey, yo, it's a 𝐜𝐴Trel, go." Come in and I was like, okay. I'm not a big fan of the singing stuff that they have. That Roy, I'm not a fan of that. Or the Rhyme rapping stuff. It's fine. But I'm not exactly, a big fan of pulling out a microphone at midnight. It's so weird, but whatever. So we did see that, and then we did get to see 𝐿eeko and Dot and Roy all forget to take pictures of everything. So they're pretty much failing their exams right now, and I find those moments cute. But for the most part, I was kind of bored throughout the episode up to the moment with the Capsakid, Watrel, 𝐜𝐴Trel evolution, and then seeing the preview for next week. But for the most part, I was kind of snoozing, losing over here for most of the episode. So I'll say this is like a 6 out of 10 episode. It was fine. It was a fine episode of Pokemon. Just another filler gap episode. But the filler did have a important moment with the evolution. So anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next week for episode number 53. 50 Trace. Yeah, 53 next week as we come across the Annihilate. All right, friends. Peace out, trainers. Also, don't forget there's a raid this week. I think Swampert, if your guys are doing a Violet and Scarlet raid. So anyways, see you next week. Peace out.